2005. May we rise for the pledge of allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, we have.
And Hank Stewart in the Zoom box. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. May I have a motion approving the minutes of May 21st, 2025?
So moved.
Any changes, additions, or deletions? All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Treasurer's report, if we would be so kind.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Cesario. I'm the new county CFO. The report on travel and business expenses summarizes 27 separate expenses totaling $3,137.58. All of the travel and business expenses were accompanied by appropriate supporting documentation. Therefore, no expenses have been rejected since Robert Franklin's last report of May 16th of 2025. The report on credit card use, that there was 23 individual charges totaling $2,890.08. There were a couple items that were, the credit card was used, but the expense reports had already been submitted in the Mr. Franklin's last report. So but all the other remaining items on for credit card use were included in the current report on travel and business expense. That's summarizing my report.
Any questions about the report?
No.
I have a motion approving them.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Audit committee report, Mr. Perone.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. We had Mr. Niles here, Tom Niles, Stonebridge. We went over the 4 audits. And I'll just go over them really quickly. The first one was from Paula Donuts. The time of the period was January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2024. There were no findings in revenues. Pricing showed that some products exceed the 10% threshold above the average price in Monroe County allowed by the contract. MCAA to send notification letter to Duncan to request pricing be modified to conform with the 10% threshold. Actually, as we move on forward, we'll find it's just something that we'll probably read again in the other audits. Next, he went over the Avis car rental, and that time period of the audit was October 1st, 2023 to September 30th, 2024. Concession fees were $800,000 paid to MCAA based on gross sales of $8 million. Revenues, Stonebridge for the requested 25 rental transactions resulted in a scope limitation on the audit. New contracts with car rentals are going to include a financial penalty for failure to provide requested audit documents in a timely manner. Again, as I mentioned just now, there are going to be a lot of letters going out. Moving on.
Mr. Perron, may I ask a question?
Sure.
So on the existing contracts, we have no penalties if they do not submit those.
Correct.
Timely fashion. So there's nothing we can do other than nag them.
Correct.
Going
We could default them, but there's no financial.
Going forward, there will be though.
Right, got it.
Or yes,
Thank you.
yeah, I think a lot of letters are going to be going. And then we're gonna move on to Subway. That time period was January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 20. See here, under revenues, there were no material variances found. However, the statement of net and gross sales for 2024 from Subway CPA firm indicated that no assurance is provided with the above numbers. That's interesting. So they'll be receiving a letter. To repair that issue. Relative to contract compliance, contract requires that an annual price list be submitted annually by 12/15. This was not submitted in 2024. A review of product pricing showed that some items exceed the 10% threshold. MCAA staff sent a letter to request price list and to request pricing modified to conform to the 10% threshold. Like, as you can see,
Thank you for
some work to do with making communication with them. The letter. Are there any questions?
questions, comments? May I have a motion approving the report?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Next item on our agenda is to turn it over to Andy Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A couple agenda items here looking for approval. The first one, number 6, lease agreement with Avis Rent-A-Car. Avis has been on airport property probably 10, 12 years now. They rent a couple acres of land over on the north side of the airport, on the public side along Airport Way. They've been a good tenant. We went to an RFP because the current lease was going to be expiring. And the new agreement, the RFP was out, submitted. Really, Avis was the only one that submitted a proposal for that. No surprise, they've been there almost 12 years now. So the new lease term that we're looking at is a 3-year lease with 2 one-year renewals. Annual rent or revenue to the airport is right around $400,000, a little bit more than that. That's an increase from what they've been paying in the past, which was about $257,000. So a good contract for us, some increased revenue with a good tenant, quiet tenant on the airport. And so I'm seeking your approval to enter into an agreement with Avis for the lease of that property for a 3-year with 2 one-year renewals with an increase in annual at the airport. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Before I move before I ask for a motion, are they going to be paying us more than they have paid us in the past?
That is correct.
Thank you. Just want to be sure of that. Let the record reveal that if you would. Any questions? May I have a motion?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposition, passes unanimously. Next item on our agenda is the authorize a contract for on-airport car rental, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. First, I'd like to thank Mary Ann Feddison for all her work with this, along with Dave Haas. They really were in the weeds on these things with the car rental agreement, which I think is a good news story for the airport moving forward. As you know, we've got a pretty active car rental operation here, operated really by 3 different entities. You've got Hertz, you've got Avis Budget, and then you've got Enterprise National and Alamo, all under those 3 different umbrellas. And so that current agreement with those car rentals has coming to expire. And so that's why we put out the RFP. We met with the airlines beforehand to hear what they had to say. You know, we met with our team to talk about good and bad, how we can change a couple things around. I think we had a very productive meeting before the RFP was due. And we got some really nice bids from those car rental companies. So I'm asking this board to approve a 3-year agreement with 2 1-year renewals. The new MAG is significantly higher than the old MAG. That's the minimum annual guarantee that the car rentals give us, so we know exactly what the lowest amount of revenue would be. Obviously, we want higher than the lowest amount, and that's where percentages kick in. And so we got higher mags and, I think, did we get a higher percentage or?
10 is.
10%. Okay, 10%, higher percentages than other contracts. So the old mag on this was 3.3 million total. The new mag under this new agreement is 5.2 million total. So a significant increase in the minimum revenues coming to the airport. Some logistics that need to be done between now and then that the construction and operations team will work with the car rentals on, but I'm asking this board to approve a new agreement, a new 3-year agreement with 2 1-year renewals with the car rental companies. And again, this did go through a bid RFP process that went through county procurement and everything like that. So, thank you.
Before I take questions, well done to get these increases to you and to your staff for putting it together. Questions? I see one.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Andy, the mags, do we, outside of, a year like the pandemic or something like that, do we typically end up hitting them? What is our normal average on these? You mentioned the 3 million bag. What are we normally hitting on these numbers?
So Marianne may know those numbers exactly. To answer your question, Sanjay, we typically, because we have a large car rental activity, we typically go above and beyond the mags, which is a good thing.
Right.
And then we hit the 10% fee or 10% of revenues that we get. I don't know, Marianne, do you kind of know what those numbers are?
Yeah, I mean, most of them always hit their mag. They tend not to bid a mag higher than what they think they'll achieve.
Right.
Like this year, we're anticipating about 4.8 million.
Okay.
So there was some real aggressive bids, so.
So that's pretty substantially above the mag. I mean, it's like 35-40% above the mag.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so, I mean, the last time they had to bid a mag was 6 years ago before COVID, so I think the industry's changed since then, so they were all willing to go higher, and the highest bidder gets the best spot in the garage.
Right.
So that's their motivation to bid high. They want that prime spot, so.
Yeah,
You've
it's
done
all
a-
about real estate and location.
You've done a-
Who is that highest bidder?
Yeah, right.
We had a shakeup. The highest bidder was Avis. They're kicking it. Hertz has been the highest one since I've been here.
Yeah,
Avis went really high, so.
You did a good job.
yeah, she did. She
Appreciate
did a
it. Thank you,
fabulous
Vivian.
job.
Any questions? May I have a motion approving?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Next item coming up is a contract with Monroe Company to provide external audit. Andy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you know, as this board knows, Bonadio has been a trusted partner in external audits for the airport for multiple years. Their agreement came to an end. We went out with an RFP for external auditors. We received one proposal, Bonadio, for the RFP. I'm asking for this board to approve a 3-year agreement with 2 1-year renewals, so a total of 5 years potentially. The cost for Bonadio services went up a little bit. So the total cost is right around $210,000 for the 3 years. And Marianne, am I missing anything else on that? I think that's about it. Yeah, Bonadio does the annual audits and those types of things as they come before you. I think you've seen some of their principals here at the board once or twice a year to present those audits and let you know what's going on. And so we've been very happy with their services, glad they proposed again. And I ask for a 3-year with 2 1-year renewals for an approval of this contract.
Any questions?
Just the increases each year are standard practice.
Yeah, oh,
Go
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, It was a minimum, it was like $3,000 higher than their prior year, so they're just, incorporating whatever, 1 or 2% increase.
And they were the only bidder, so.
Yeah.
You're kind of.
Any other
Crap.
questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Passes unanimously. Next item is a agreement to operate a building. Record.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Many of you know this, but we have 3 billboards out on 390 right now that we own, and we contract out with Lamar to handle the advertising on that. It's been a very good contract for the airport. Again, a very good contractor or tenant of ours, if you want to call it that. I always like to say quiet is good at airports, and they're certainly quiet. They pay on time. And they're very responsive to our needs. And so we did go out and put out an RFP. Lamar was the only responder on that RFP. And so we scored it and made sure that everything met the qualifications and requirements that the county has on the RFP process, and Lamar met all those. And again, what we're seeing is an increase in revenue to the airport. Past revenue was about 39,000, new is about 50,000. And the percentages, which is more important, went from 12% to 18%. So certainly an increase in revenue coming back to the airport for that new contract moving forward. So I'm asking for another, was it 3-year? I'm sorry, I'm looking at something here. Contract will be for a period of 5 years. Sorry, 5 years to renew and up to 2 consecutive 1 year. So potential of 7 years with Lamar.
Any questions?
So interestingly enough, on my ride to Chicago, I was checking out the signs. They're all over the place. This company really is huge, and
National.
they do a really great job. So we're doing business with a very reputable firm.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
So slightly different question. Andy, do we have the ability to, if there are more lands in billboard locations that they're interested in, this agreement doesn't preclude us from putting out another RFP or having dialogue about opening up additional billboards and gaining more revenue, does it? I mean,
You're absolutely correct. In fact, Stephanie Lucani, our contract manager, and I, and even Mary Ann's been a part of internal conversations about once we get this in place, where are potentially additional areas that we could put billboards on, including the property that we own along Scottsville Road, which seems to be relatively attractive, or additional ones on 390, which obviously are, the ones most desired by potential advertisers. So certainly conversations in the future, and Mary Ann would be the first person to sign up for more additional revenue. So we'll be looking at Lamar to see what might work with them on that.
And the entire board is in favor of that.
Absolutely.
and one more question, sorry, Mr. Chairman. I remember you saying this in the past. I just want to bring it up again. Do we have the ability also do they give us the ability to put up our own promotional messages from time to time when they have idle boards, or do we get a favorable rate as part of this agreement? I didn't read through. I should have read my materials.
No, so you raise a very good point. The answer is yes. If there are vacancies on those boards, we can put up pro airport. We can put up some of our own advertising about destinations, Fly Rock, things like that for a month, 6 weeks, whatever it is. And then they'll take it down when they have an advertiser who's paying to do that. So that's a part of them being a good partner with the airport. And we've done that in the past. We also have had, like, our air show promoters have purchased advertising promoting the air show, stuff like that from Lamar in the past. So there is flexibility with Lamar to do those types of things. And we have done those in the past. Yes.
No, I think it's a great agreement, though.
Yeah.
It is.
I have a quick question for Andy. Doesn't Lamar own the billboards themselves?
They own the billboards. We control the land that the billboards are on.
Okay, so how would they effectively How would anybody else respond to an RFP if Lamar owns the board?
Mary Ann, did I get that wrong? I think I got that wrong.
If they leave, there are billboards. I think the contract, I'd have to go back and read it, but it's my understanding if they were to leave, the billboards stay and they're ours.
Are all three
Let
like,
me check on
are
that.
they all electronic?
No.
No,
No.
they're statics.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have talked with them in the past about electronics. That's a pretty significant investment. I don't know if that's something that they're open to doing in the future, but right now they're all static displays. But Steve, let me get you an exact answer. I apologize. I don't want to give you any bad information.
Right.
There's something that does give us the rights to those billboards.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly what it was.
Competition is good.
Yeah.
May I have a motion to? All in favor?
I,
I didn't, wait a minute, made a mistake. I needed a second to the motion.
second.
Thank you. All in favor?
I,
Passes unanimously. Thank you. Next item, back to Andy Moore, if you'd be so kind.
Thanks, Chairman. I asked it to put this resolution from the board for a little over a year. We've been working on updating our minimum standards for airfield operations. Our current minimum standards was probably a 2010 document, so it's about 15 years old. It really was time to bring that up to current standards, if you want to call it that. I know in my conversations with the FAA, they were asking about, are we going to update our min standards? Because they were at that point, 12 years old, 13 years old, stuff like that. And so we decided to go ahead and do that. We did engage both our FBOs, which are great partners on the airfield. Both of them are here right now, get their input, what they're seeing and stuff like that. And so they were a big part of the document that you have in front of you. And I just real quickly wanted to just kind of review, so what are our minimum standards? Well, it really is a document that sets a level playing field and what expectations are on the airfield. So you don't have the wild, wild west out there. It is a document that the FAA does want and does recommend that all airports have, whether they're general aviation airports or commercial service airports. And so in the document, I put down, the purpose of imposing these minimum standards are to ensure safe, efficient, adequate levels of service are offered to the public, protect airport users from unlicensed and unauthorized products and services. That's a big one. Maintain and enhance the availability of adequate services for all airport users, both on the general aviation side and the commercial side. Promote the orderly development of land, so we don't have just random hangars showing up and people parking trailers and parking campers and someone having a Saturday car show, on their ramp, those types of activities that the FAA frowns upon. Ensure the economic stability and competitiveness of all on-airport operators. Again, that kind of goes back to the level playing field and fairness, and ensure efficient use of navigable airspace. And so that just makes sure that people that are using the airport on airport have an aviation related reason for being there, which is absolutely important to the FAA and to the airport. From an FBO side, I think it also makes sure that there is that level playing field, but it also prevents some of the issues that we've had in the past with some operators thinking that they may be able to build a hangar and then just start fueling and de-icing other people's aircrafts, which is actually forbidden to do that. And so it just kind of clarifies those types of things. And so it really is an updated document. It's nothing new. There's no real crazy initiatives in here. It's pretty much the same that it was before. It just increases our ability to have a little bit more oversight on the airfield and make sure some of the language in a 15-year-old document is updated and okay per FAA recommendations. So I'm asking for this board to approve the updated minimum standards for commercial and general aviation use on the airport.
Before I move this, I would like to, are there any questions about what Andy has said?
Sorry, Chairman, I've got a lot of
Okay.
questions.
Yeah.
So does this preclude, so when you say airfield, this doesn't preclude activities that an FBO operator, for example, has within their structure? So example, the Rochester Fashion Show has occurred
Sure.
in a hangar, I've been to all sorts of events. Or is that what we're not talking about that, we're talking about explicitly outside on the airfield, or?
Correct. I mean, and the FBOs have been very good with communication. If they're doing something in their hangar, some event, they've always been very good about notifying the airport that this activity is occurring. And there's no issues with that. Fashion shows, they've had some parties, they've had some I don't want to call it funeral, but calling hours and things like that for one of our firefighters that passed away. So those are all perfectly fine. Just notification of the airport that that activity is taking place. And that's really just to make sure that our security team kind of knows what's going on there. Because on a day that you may not see a lot of activity occurring, like a Saturday afternoon, all of a sudden there is, and it, just a little heightened sense of awareness. But it will have no impact on what you just said, Sanjay. None.
Any other questions? May I have a motion approving the minimum standards for our airport?
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any objection? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Operating budget, if we would be so kind.
Yeah, you have paper copies of these before you, because they didn't make it into the PowerPoint on the PCs. The first one is a approval and adoption of the 2026 Airport Authority operating budget. This was presented at the internal audit meeting, the audit committee meeting. The budget of 34.2 million for the year. We went through the categories and involved and answered any questions. So with your approval, we will vote to pass on the 2026 budget for the authority for next year.
Any questions?
And Mr. Chairman, real quick, I just want to give Mary Ann and Dave Haas and the finance team a lot of credit for diving into the weeds on these. Mary Ann and I meet regularly to go over budget, where we are, what's over, what's under, what's coming, what's unexpected. As you know, airports have a lot of unexpected expenses that pop up. And her team just does a fabulous job, really makes my job as airport director and administrative director for the authority very easy, I hate to admit, when we're going over all these things, because she's got her arms really around where we are financially. And I think this is a really good budget. I mean, it's less than what we were spending in 2025 moving into 2026. And not a lot of authorities and not a lot of airports can say that. So I thank her and her team.
And we thank you for your efforts. Any questions?
So the budget was actually approved by the audit committee. Is this recommended by one of our subcommittees or?
Yeah, it's recommended to the board, right? You're recommended to the board because the board has to vote on it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Just.
So it passed the committee
Yeah, that's-
and now it's to the full board.
Right.
Yeah.
Any other questions? May I have a motion approving the 2006 operating budget?
I'll approve that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimous.
Did you second?
Second.
Action of the 2006 capital.
So same as the operating budget, I presented the capital budget to the audit committee and reviewed that. It's incorporated into the operating budget. It's a line item of $5 million for 2026 versus 9.1 million in 2025. So it decreased by about $4 million. We discussed the projects that are planned for 26, the reasons for the decrease, and the audit committee was satisfied with the answers and putting it to the board for the vote.
Any questions? May I have a motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimous. Thank you very much. I think we'll hand David with the traffic report. Please.
Good afternoon, everyone. We all have a copy of the summer 2025 trip on your iPads. Represents the period from May through August. And employments, pages 1 through 3, I must say we had a very good summer for employments this year. Our positive growth trend continues. The composite total for the 4 months, May through August, was 495,262 employments. That's an increase of 2.8% or 13,481 over the same period in 2024, which was 481,781. Year to date, we're at 927,796. That's an increase of 5.7% or just under 50,000 more than 8 months of 2024, which was 877,995. I might just make a conjecture here. If we continue on our current positive growth trend that we're seeing right now, and I have no reasons to believe we will not, there's a very good possibility that we'll hit 1.4 million employments for the year. And that's a level we have not seen since the early 2000s. So I think we can do it, and if things keep going the way they are, which I think will happen, we'll do good. Load factors on pages 4 and 5. May and June were at 81%, a very good number. July peaked at 88.6%, and August came down a little bit at 86.7%. So July and August are always our heaviest months, and that remains the situation as we see those load factors for the summer. Seat analysis on page 6. May and August, we had just over 150,000 seats offered in both months. June and July came down a bit to 140,000 and 144,000 respectively. Spirit Airlines, both in May and August, increased their flights substantially out of Rochester, so that made the number of flights and landing weights as well as the seats go up both those months. As I mentioned, landing weights, pages 7 through 10, were up almost 10%. That reflects the additional activity by Avelo, our new airline Breeze, and Spirit, as I just mentioned. Besides that, Delta Airlines was operating slightly larger Airbus aircraft, the A321, in our markets, going to Atlanta throughout the summer. So that pushed our landing weights up as well. Departing trips were up 11.4%. As I mentioned, Spirit had 50 flights in May and August. They dropped a little bit to 31 and 25 in July and August. That was for Spirit. Also, addition of Avelo's flights and Breeze's new flights made the increase possible. On page 13, just a summary, doing an average of 46 to 48 trips per day, with right now approximately 80 to 90 passengers per trip. And that's my report for this meeting. If anybody has any questions, we seem to be moving well in a positive direction.
Comment? Well done.
Thank you.
So any question? Very much. Next item is a director's report.
Well, thanks, Mr. Chairman. Real quick, as you know, construction is still going on at the airport, starting to phase out a little bit with the terminal stuff. We've got some elevator, really the center elevator, that hopefully will be done within the next 4 weeks. And then the vestibules, should be done in that 4 to 6 week time frame. And then pretty much all terminal construction will be completed at that point. Out on the roadway, as many of you know, we've talked about it before, that's really a bridge structure, and there was some structural abutment issues there that needed to be addressed as they dug into it. Like anything else, they found some more issues. So that project should be done sometime in the Thanksgiving timeframe. I've really been pushing for it to be done by Thanksgiving because that's the busiest 5 days of the year for us, consecutive 5 days of the year. And so that's a little bit of an inconvenience to passengers. I understand that, but we had to shut down some lanes in order to really dive into the structure itself. But everything's going well, and issues are being addressed, which is good. And then we're expanding the weekly parking, as you probably drove in off to the left, right around the roundabout. We're expanding that weekly parking, adding about another 200 spaces there. That's the green lot. We call it the green lot, the weekly lot. That's our busiest lot of all of our parking, except for the garage. But that lot's always in demand, so we needed to add more parking spaces there, which will be nice. It'll be a good revenue source for us. So that project will probably go till about the Thanksgiving timeframe too. So a lot of stuff going on. It's getting a little bit quieter, which is nice. Last week I met with Breeze Airlines. A very good discussion. They're very happy with the way things are going in Rochester to date with ticket sales and bookings. I know they're looking at a couple other destinations. Hopefully we'll see some of those new destinations moving in to the winter of 2026, particularly into the spring of 2026. But everything seems to be going real well with Breeze. And as you know, Allegiant added Sarasota, Florida, which is nice, starting in the winter too. So still working on Denver, still working on Dallas. Raleigh has popped up in the conversation potentially. I'm sorry, not Raleigh. I was thinking Savannah has popped up into the conversation recently, which is another one of our highly desired recreation vacation destinations too. So so far so good with that. And I admit I wasn't here in the beginning of the meeting, but I don't know if everybody got introduced to Jen Cesario. Jen is the new finance director for the county. She's already doing a much better job than Bob Franklin ever did. So
Careful.
we welcome Jen. Thanks for being a part of the finance team. She'll be working with Mary Ann and myself on budgets and issues that airports run into with bonding and stuff like that. And then Brendan Fleming is the acting county attorney, who replaced John Bringawat. Brendan is a welcome counsel to Josh and myself on issues. So thank you both for being a part of the team here. We greatly appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Yep.
On
That is
behalf
all.
of the authority, thank you both for joining.
You.
That's all I have, sir.
Okay, other business, shall we go into executive session? Yes, sorry, forgive me.
A usual question. Any movement on the hotel?
Oh, God. You'd think I'd have a better answer for you.
Yeah,
but I
just to
don't.
try to catch up.
Same answer as before.
It's
Yeah,
getting, I
has-
see they have a sign out there now that.
Yeah,
So
I started to board up some of the windows, so it doesn't make it look any better, but at least it's something.
yeah.
Yeah, nothing yet.
And then any talk with the environmental department about level 3 chargers going in at the waiting area?
We do have that state grant that does cover some existing charging stations. I know Bill Johnston and Tom Mann are overseeing that project as we speak. That did not include level 3 chargers, but there's some flexibility in what we can do with that grant, with the dollar amount that we're given. And so we're certainly trying to pursue that. The issue, I believe, that came in is the capabilities of supplying that much power.
The only reason I bring up level 3 is that if people wait 15 minutes, 20 minutes,
Right.
they can charge to 70, 80%.
Yeah. And that's the perfect spot for a
It
level.
would be perfect spot.
Yeah.
Especially people commuting long distances to pick up someone or.
Sure.
or-
Absolutely.
Yep.
It's a, yeah.
I wouldn't recommend them for anything inside.
Correct.
Because I would just take the spot up for hours.
And we're putting level 2s in the other
Yeah,
areas,
that's
but I
fine.
think they were trying to talk to the state about a level 3, but I believe in my last conversation, there was some issue with supplying that power.
Power is an issue,
Exactly.
although there's some of the newest technology is you can have the standard power that's coming in and then have a battery pack on the side.
Hmm.
So the actual level 2 charging charges the battery that then allows the level 3 to function.
Yeah, okay.
That's out there. But again, the environmental department will know all
Yeah.
about that. So I just think that if we're gonna have charging here, allowing people to stop for 15, 20 minutes, they can actually almost fully charge.
Yeah.
And you can make some money as well.
Yeah.
And my last question is, obviously, there's a lot going on nationally. Anything coming down the pike from the federal government that we should be aware of that's impacting the airport?
Well, we're gonna run into executive session
Yes.
for a couple minutes. There's some litigation that we wanted to update the board on. But other than that, I'm not seeing a whole lot that completely impacts aviation. There's some staffing issues at the ADO, which slows down the grant process. ADO is Airport District Office. It's our direct contact with the FAA out of Jamaica, New York City. So they've got some staffing issues. So we've had to kind of move our airport capital improvement program around based on their staffing, which is fine. It's out of our hands. It's not my decision, it's their decision. But other than that, nothing to date. Nothing to date. So
Any other questions? May I have a motion to go into executive session? Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. We are now into executive session.
thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming in.
Our next meeting is scheduled for November 19th, 2025. And I thank you all.
Do we need a motion to adjourn or?
Yes, may I have a motion to adjourn? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
All right.
Thank you.